Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to a review of Dragon Ball Super Broly. Yeah, we're doing a review, which we haven't done in a long time. But I just got back from seeing this movie, and I need to talk about it. I need to talk about this. It has been a long fucking time since I've been invested in Dragon Ball. And I'm just going to say that this review is going to be spoilers. In fact, it's going to be in the title, obviously, you'll have seen it, that this review will contain spoilers. Because there's no way I can talk about this without talking about the original Broly movie, as well as talking about exactly what happened in this one and the differences between them. So, here's your spoiler warning now. There will be spoilers for Dragon Ball Super Broly, as well as the original Legendary Super Saiyan Broly movie from before, and possibly maybe on the other two Broly movies, Second Coming and Bio Broly, but we'll see. We'll go with it as we go. But yeah, spoiler warning. So from this point forward, there will be spoilers, and so yeah. Let's get on with this. So yeah, as I said, it's been a long fucking time since I've been invested in the Dragon Ball franchise. I love Dragon Ball, and I love Dragon Ball Z. Even Kai is fine, of course, even though it takes out a lot of the filler stuff, which sometimes was pretty good and fun. And I loved a lot of the movies. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And then GT came. And GT, I never hated as much as a lot of fans did, but I always kind of felt it was lacking. It just didn't feel as good, but it still wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. But then Super came. And Super was terrible. Super did pretty much everything wrong. The introduction of the alternate universes and just more stupid power-ups, like the power-ups we had, even up to GT with Super Saiyan 4 and whatnot, were fine. But once you get into stuff with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct, all of that shit, it gets too ridiculous, and it goes to the point where it goes from just being a little silly to just overly unenjoyable. When your characters have this many power-ups and it just gets to this level, it's like, I get the idea that with Dragon Ball, the characters have to keep improving, because with this kind of anime, each villain has to be stronger than the next, and so, of course, our heroes have to get stronger, too. But the problem with that, at the same time, is that they make the villains too much stronger than the last, so that the heroes have to get too much stronger as well. And it just comes across as forced. And Super, like I said, it also introduced the alternate universes, which was stupid. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The first two arcs of the series were just rehashes of two movies, which the movies did better, by the way. And then everything after that was just stupid. It wasn't entertaining, it wasn't fun, it wasn't well written, and it just forced a lot of stuff that just felt completely unnatural in its execution. So honestly, going into this movie, I wasn't very excited, to be honest. I mean, honestly, the only reason I saw it at this point, after honestly losing faith in the Dragon Ball franchise, was because it was Broly. Because the original Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan movie, is one of my favorite anime movies of all time. Not just my favorite Dragon Ball movie, not just my favorite piece of the Dragon Ball franchise, period. One of my favorite anime movies of all time. I always loved it, and yes, it was ridiculous in parts. The story was a little silly. Broly being vengeful against Goku because he cried was stupid. But it was that kind of it was done in a way to where it was like, it was so stupid, it was actually entertaining. It was fun. It was that kind of stupidity that's just, it's like, it's so bad it's actually good. And I like that. Because, one, I'm a fan of movies and shows and whatnot when they're purposefully, or even sometimes unintentionally, so bad that they're good. Like The Room, for example, or Birdemic. Things like that that are so ridiculously bad, it almost feels like it's on purpose, but you could tell it's not. Stuff like that. And I kind of felt the same with the original Broly movie. But at the same time, I always enjoyed it. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the fact that Broly was this overpowered villain, or who wasn't even really a villain when it came down to it. But I like that they couldn't just take him down that easily, and that they had to resort to basically combining all of their power, everyone, all of our heroes who were there. They had to give all of their power to Goku to be able to take him down. And then, as we find out with Broly's Second Coming, it didn't even work. They didn't defeat him. They didn't kill him. Because they couldn't. They stopped him for the time being, but he was able to come back. And then Bio Broly ended up happening after that, but we don't talk about Bio Broly, because that ruined everything. So, because of my just love for that movie, I had to see this one. And going into this movie, I had heard a lot about it. Not necessarily how it went story-wise or anything, but I had heard just a lot of people talking about it, saying, I've heard some people say it's like one of their favorite anime movies of all time. Definitely the best Dragon Ball movie. I constantly see fan art of Chilai everywhere. And people constantly praising her and shipping her with Broly and stuff, and I was worried. I was worried that, one, Chilai was going to be extremely underwhelming compared to all the hype we were getting to her, and the movie as well. I was thinking that because of just all the insane amounts of hype this movie was getting, it wasn't going to live up to it. That it couldn't live up to it. People are calling this one of the best anime movies of all time. No joke. And that's the kind of title that is given to movies like Your Name and A Silent Voice. Those big name anime movies. You don't think of a Dragon Ball movie when you think of one of the best anime movies of all time. Just like you wouldn't think of a Pokemon movie, or a Digimon movie, or a Yu-Gi-Oh movie, or whatever else like that, a One Piece movie, etc., etc. Those are not the kind of things you think of. You think of the more like one-shot things. Again, like Your Name, Silent Voice, Boy and the Beast, Wolf Children. Those kind of movies are what you think of when you think of greatest anime movies of all time. Or, of course, the Studio Ghibli films, like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, those kind of movies. That's what you think of when you think of the greatest anime movies of all time. You don't think of a Dragon Ball movie. No. I mean, even if you like the Dragon Ball movies, it's like you wouldn't think of that when you hear the greatest anime movie of all time line. So, yeah, I did not know what to expect, and I really didn't expect a lot. I figured that this was going to maybe be good, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as all the hype was giving it. And now, after watching it, I can say without a doubt that it belongs in the running for the greatest anime movie of all time. And it's insane to say that. It's hard for me to say that because it's hard to believe that this movie was that fucking good. I grew up watching the Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan movie. Broly was always my favorite Dragon Ball Z villain. And again, he was never really a villain per se. Not like Frieza or Cell or Boo. He was never evil. He was just uncontrollable. And his power was maximum. But in all seriousness, I didn't think this was going to be as good as it was, and I really, again, coming from someone who grew up loving the original Broly movie, I didn't think this was going to be able to live up to that, but it far surpassed it. For one, it made Broly into a more nuanced, well-written character. I mean, I never really thought that Broly was like this amazing character in the original. I just enjoyed him. I'll be honest. Um, I never like thought he was like this great nuanced character or anything. But then again, it's the Dragon Ball franchise. You don't get a lot of those with this. But they actually made him into this really compelling character. And they didn't even do a lot with him. It's more about like the circumstances around his character and the people who are also like guiding him in different ways. Um, you have Paragus, his father, who also was a lot more interesting in this film, by the way. Paragus uh, was a general for King Vegeta back in the days before Planet Vegeta was destroyed. Vegeta feared Broly's power level as a kid, and this time, I believe in the original, he tried to kill Broly and kind of just like leave him for dead, as well as Paragus. This time, though, he just sent Broly away to basically exile on this planetoid called Vampa. Um, and Paragus basically fled and chased after him. And when Planet Vegeta was destroyed, we had Paragus and Vampa, or Paragus and Broly, stuck on Vampa because the ship they went in, that Paragus and this other guy went in, ended up being broken in the crash landing. And so Paragus, his thirst for revenge against King Vegeta for what he did, kind of fueled him in this time. He raised Broly knowing about his power level for the express purpose of one day possibly getting revenge on King Vegeta. That was the entire purpose of how he raised Broly. Everything he did was for that revenge. And so he never really, especially as we find out a little later, never really treated Broly like a true son. And his thirst for revenge actually surpassed the reason for his revenge. The reason he wanted the revenge in the first place was because of King Vegeta exiling his young son, like basically infant son. That was the reason he wanted revenge, because he did have that love for his son. But his thirst for revenge surpassed that, and he basically forgot the reason why he wanted that revenge in the first place. He was blinded by it. To the point where, yeah, he did raise his son fully on the purpose of getting revenge and not as an actual son. He basically turned Broly into a tool. And that comes into play later. So, we see Planet Vegeta getting destroyed, but not before getting a little shot of Bardock and Guinea as well. And I believe this is the first time we actually get to meet Guinea in the franchise. Guinea is Bardock's wife and the mother of Goku, and she is fucking adorable. Like, seriously, I really wish we could have seen more of her, because she is adorable and beautiful and caring and kind of sassy even a little bit. Plus, it looks like she worked as a butcher, which is interesting. I want to know more about her. I want to see more of her. Honestly, I'm more interested in her than Bardock. Also, Bardock was changed a little bit in this one. Originally, Bardock, like, he had, like, this future sight that he used in order to see Planet Vegeta's destruction. And he tried warning people about it and whatnot. In this one, he kind of more of just sensed it was coming. He just, like, he could just tell. It wasn't, like, any kind of extrasensory ability or whatnot. I'm also wondering, I assume then that the fact that he went into the past and met Frieza's ancestor and became a Super Saiyan at that point and was the start of the myth of the legendary Super Saiyan. I assume that's non-canon and all now as well. Because it definitely looked like he died in this. But then again, it originally looked like he did too. I assume that he did die because he didn't have the future vision and stuff, and or the, you know, I assume he wasn't able to time travel in this continuity. But yeah, we see the planet destroyed, and it's like the first 25 minutes of this movie are just all of this stuff with Planet Vegeta, with Paragus and Broly, and with Goku's parents and all. The first 25 minutes of this film, or so, approximately, is just that. And that was interesting to me, that we spent so much time on that between those two stories of these two sets of Saiyans. And we even saw a little bit of younger Vegeta and Raditz as well, and I think one of them was, I think we also saw a younger Nappa, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm not 100% sure that that was Nappa. But we definitely saw young Vegeta and Raditz, who sounded, I mean, I obviously I saw the dub. They sounded a lot older than they were. I mean, I guess it's hard for those voice actors to portray kids, but it was a little weird. But then we go into the current day where Goku and Vegeta are training. We see that they're on this little island, I believe, with Bulma, Beerus, and Whis and all. Bola's there as well, baby Bola. And they're just kind of relaxing and having fun. Goku and Vegeta are training and all. And we have Frieza brought into things as well. Frieza is trying to collect the Dragon Balls, as we find out. Because we see that Bulma gets a call from Trunks, who notes that the lab was broken into and the Dragon Radar and Dragon Balls were stolen. And we find out it's from Frieza's men. And we find out that Frieza is trying to steal the Dragon Balls to get taller. He wants to make himself a little bit taller, but not too much that it's too noticeable. He wants people to think that he's still growing and that he's... that it's natural. And it's like, that is really weird. I mean, I get it was supposed to be like this joke and everything, but it was really weird. Not necessarily in a bad way, it was just weird. It's like, you don't want your immortal life anymore. It's like, that's what you've always wanted to wish for with the Dragon Balls. Now you're just happy with that. And, I mean, he still shows that he wants to eventually take down Goku and Vegeta, but that's not really his main goal at the moment. We're then also introduced to Chi-Lai and Len. And again, as I mentioned with my preconceptions of this film going into it, with all the hype surrounding Chi-Lai, I didn't think I was going to like her as much because I thought it was going to be kind of overhyped, but she's amazing. And I'll get more into why a little bit later, but Chi-Lai is freaking amazing. She's adorable. She's voiced by Erica Lindbeck, who does an amazing job. She's adorable, she's funny, she's sassy, she has a great personality and character to her. And unlike a lot of like Frieza Force members, she and Len, they both care about others. They're both pretty nice and yeah, caring. And I'll get more into that later. But they end up finding Broly and Paragus on Vampa and agree to help them. They bring them back to Frieza. Frieza meets Paragus, tells him about everything that's going on, and we find out that this metal band around Broly's neck is a electroshock collar. I mentioned before how Paragus had raised Broly to kind of be a tool, and this is kind of showing that he definitely sees Broly more as a tool to control and use rather than a son. No father would rightfully do this. It's insane. It's stupid. It's evil. It's sick. And Chilai and Len realize this after Paragus uses it to control Broly's anger, stopping him from causing a brawl in the lunch hall. We see, as Paragus is leaving to go talk to Frieza again, we see Chilai swipe the electro remote, the electroshock collar remote from Paragus's bag, and then proceeds to smash it. And this really helps build this relationship between Chilai and Broly that is the biggest reason why people ship these two. Why we've seen that people really like the thought of these two. And there's more in this movie that really fuels that. But honestly, I can't argue with it. It would be an adorable ship, and I kind of ship it too. So Paragus has learned about Prince Vegeta, and now he's agreed to work with Frieza to kind of get revenge. Frieza's going to allow him and Broly to take on Prince Vegeta, but Frieza wants Goku for himself, of course. So they arrive on Earth because they're going there to get the the Dragon Balls from their from Frieza's minions, who had already gone ahead to get them. When there, they meet up with Goku and Vegeta, and who had gone with Bulma to the Icelands area, which we had seen before and whatnot in past movies, and I think we've seen it in the show as well. But they're going there to try to get the last Dragon Ball before the Frieza Force members can, and then Frieza and all of them come, and it basically goes into the battle, the big battle. Broly starts the fight against Vegeta initially, and Vegeta isn't standing any kind of chance. There are a couple points where Vegeta gets the upper hand, but Broly keeps getting stronger and learning as he goes. Eventually, Goku takes over and starts fighting, but again, Broly keeps getting stronger, and no matter what transformations Goku goes into, he's not strong enough. At this point, Piccolo is kind of shoehorned into the movie, and that's my only big complaint about the film. Piccolo was kind of just thrown in for the hell of it. Like, even Trunks and Goten, who were shown earlier in the film, they actually had some point to be there, and they felt natural in their inclusion. Piccolo just felt like, oh, Piccolo was in the original film, let's just throw him in. I'm surprised they didn't throw in Gohan, too. Seriously, it just felt completely random, Piccolo's inclusion. And he was only there for like 2 scenes, and then he was gone again. It just felt completely random and out of place. But so yeah, even Goku can't fight him, so Goku takes Vegeta and they flee to Piccolo. Piccolo helps Goku and Vegeta do the fusion dance to turn into Gogeta, this is the first time Gogeta is being officially canon as well. So while they're trying to transform and they fail a couple times, we see Broly has now turned his eyes to Frieza. And even in his golden form, Frieza's no match for Broly. By this point as well, Broly has turned into his legendary Super Saiyan form because Frieza killed Paragus and then tried to blame it on a stray shot from the battle. Because Frieza's a manipulative asshole. So Broly got excessively pissed and turned into his legendary Super Saiyan form. And even as Super Saiyan Blue, Goku and Vegeta together didn't stand a chance. Which is this huge deal, because let me explain. Goku is often viewed as one of, if not the most powerful anime character, even though realistically it's Saitama from One Punch Man, because that's literally the point of his character. But Goku would definitely be a very close second, and in terms of like legit anime that's not like a parody, where again with One Punch Man, Saitama's meant to be that overpowered, that stupidly, ridiculously OP. With Goku, that's just how the series is. It's not a joke, it's just how it is. So Goku is, I guess, the most powerful serious anime character, the most powerful character in a serious anime. But that's not even technically true. because Whis is actually stronger. I would say Goku's stronger than Beerus, but we know Whis is much stronger than them. So technically, Whis is actually stronger. But either way, so Goku and Vegeta together not only couldn't defeat Broly, but they didn't stand a chance. They had to turn into Gogeta, which not only combines their power, but greatly amplifies it. But then they also had to then go Super Saiyan Blue. So Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta was the only way they stood a chance against legendary Super Saiyan Broly. And it's just, that's insane to think about. That Broly is that powerful. And in the end, I was actually getting so invested in this film, I was worried. I was worried that Broly was actually going to die. And the reason I was worried about this, unlike I was in the original movie, is because I actually cared about Broly. Because this time Broly was a victim who was turned into this tool of revenge, trained to be this mindless, violent fighter by his father. He was innocent in all of this. He was forced into all of this against his will. And we had found out earlier in the film that there was this monster, this creature on planet Vampa, that Broly had actually at one point made friends with. And that Paragus ruined that because it wasn't training for the revenge. And it's like, it just makes you care so much about this character that in the original movie, it's like you kind of sympathize with him maybe a little, but definitely not to this level. So it's like I was legitimately scared. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, how are they going to save him? They've got to save him. Because you see, Gogeta is using like the strongest Kamehameha possible, the strongest attack possible to take Broly out. And it probably would have killed Broly. But luckily, our green waifu, Chilai, saved the day. Chilai summoned Shenron, having stolen the Dragon Balls from Frieza, and wished for Broly to be saved by returning him to Vampa. And Shenron did it. Broly was sent back to Vampa. He was saved from his horrible, horrible fate of... honestly, he would have been killed. It's not even a question. He would have been killed if that hit him. And he was saved right in time. And at that point, Chilai and Len were like, oh, we're fucking off. They just left and gathered some supplies and headed off to Vampa to live with Broly. Frieza kind of fucked off at that point too, and it's just like, I'll get revenge sometime. And he went off to do as Frieza does and conquer some other planets. But then we see an ending that wasn't necessary, but honestly tied the movie together in such a beautiful way. We see Chilai and Len on Vampa with Broly. Broly offers them this bug protein that he had been surviving off of. This, I think it was a leg. He offers that to them, and they try it, and it's like apparently sour and kind of gross, but apparently the supplies they brought would only last them a certain amount of time. But they're kind of like agreeing to live together and everything, and it's really fucking cute. And then Goku shows up, having tracked Broly's power. He uses instant transmission and shows up, gives them a capsule house from Bulma, and some other supplies, and just asks if he can, come and train with Broly sometime. And they end up agreeing to it after a little bit of mistrust, mostly on Chilai's end, but also a bit on Len. Broly seemed more accepting of it. Because during their battle, even though Broly had been losing control, Goku did show some level of caring towards him. So, and we see they eventually agree to it, though, and Goku leaves, and it's like just this really nice ending. This really happy ending for Broly. And that's what one of the big things that helps this stand apart from the former movie and just from a lot of these. Broly wasn't the villain in this movie. He wasn't the main enemy to defeat. It was actually Paragus. Paragus was the main enemy. And his death, he wasn't even taken out by one of the good guys. He was taken out by Frieza. But it was such a fitting death too, because it's like Frieza just turns around, it's like zap, kills him, shoots him through the chest. It was such an uneventful death. And his death was then used against him to do something that Paragus never wanted to happen, which was Broly losing control. So Paragus's death was cathartic in a way. But I also mentioned I'd talk more about Chi-Lai, and I wanted to talk specifically about her caring personality and really nice attitude towards everything. For the Frieza Force members we usually see are pretty on board with Frieza's general goals and stuff. But Chi-Lai and Len tend to be a lot nicer, a lot more cool and accepting and caring. And we see that in their interactions with Broly. And here at the end, when Chi-Lai goes out of her way to betray Frieza by using the Dragon Balls and all, they outright show that she cares more about Broly in that moment, which is definitely a big fueling for the ship. And then in the end, she and Len agree to live in exile on Vampa, on this hostile planet with Broly, just to be with him. And to keep him from danger, like Frieza and whatnot. And it's beautiful, it's so nice. And Broly himself is actually kind of cute in a way. His appearance isn't, like, necessarily my type. But he's cute in more of his mannerisms when he's under control and stuff. His mannerisms, his smile, his general naivety, and kind of how he's almost like a child in a way. He's not necessarily, I wouldn't say he's cute in like I think he's like, he's a cute guy. No, he's like cute more like a child. He's adorable. He's funny. He's just this cute boy. As Chi-Lai puts it at one point, I believe she says something along the lines of he's this innocent little boy, basically, and that's true. Even though he's basically the same age as Goku, which at this point I think is actually in his 40s or 50s, something like that. Which is surprising because Goku and Vegeta as well don't look that old, but they technically are. I mean, they both have okay. Goku has a grandchild. Vegeta does not at this point. But Goku has a grandchild, Pan. So it's like, you gotta think about that. You gotta think about it. And even though Pan's just a baby, you still gotta think about that. But yeah, it's just like, Broly's about that age too, but he's a child because all he learned on Vampa from his father was how to fight. There's a lot he doesn't know. After you see Chi-Lai and Len rescue Paragus and Broly, they're on the ship and Broly's watching Chi-Lai eat this like protein bar or something, or candy bar or whatever, and he's just watching. He's showing this like genuine like interest in it, like he's like this child seeing something for the first time. And I mean, it is the first time he's seen something like that. And Chi-Lai offers him one. He takes a bite of it and he gets obsessed with it. He's just chowing down on it. It's adorable. They go out of their way to make Broly seem like a actual character, like there's actually something to him in this film. Honestly, they did everything so much better than the original. Everything just felt more natural. It felt more nuanced. It felt like they put a lot more thought and effort into it. And it's insane because it still had the stupid levels of transformations with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct, I think was shown in there. I don't know a lot about Ultra Instinct, so I'm assuming there's this. I'm assuming there's one point where I think that was supposed to be Ultra Instinct that Goku was using. Um, but yeah, it's just like everything was so much better done than in the original film. And it's insane to think about because it's during this era with all these stupid transformations. It's during this era where the story of the show has gotten to such stupid levels that it's not entertaining or fun to watch anymore. That it's like hashtag not my Dragon Ball. To be a little cringy there. But in all seriousness, this was that damn good. I didn't expect to like this that much. I mean, I figured it was going to be. I figured it was going to be good, and I knew the animation was going to be phenomenal because, I mean, it always is in the Dragon Ball films. But I thought it was going to be more on the level of like maybe Battle of Gods or Return of F, or whatever that one was called. The last two Dragon Ball Z movies. I thought it was going to be more on that level. But no, it surprised me in so many ways. The depth of the characters, the just overall, the overall nuance of the story and everything that it did with these characters. And it even had a few humorous moments, some really funny moments every now and again that also didn't feel unnatural in their execution. Again, the only thing that felt unnatural was Piccolo's inclusion. It felt like he was just tacked in there for the hell of it. But otherwise, it just felt so well put together. And I really, really appreciate that. So much. You have no idea. Like I said at the beginning of this review, it's been a long fucking time since I've been invested in a Dragon Ball, in a piece of the Dragon Ball franchise. But it's been even longer than that I've been in love with a piece of the Dragon Ball franchise. I adore this film. I wouldn't necessarily put it as my favorite anime movie of all time, but it's up there. And honestly, yeah, I would say this is my favorite piece of the Dragon Ball franchise, my favorite piece of media in all of Dragon Ball. And that includes all of the movies, all of the TV series, all of the games even. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of a lot of the games, especially the Tenkaichi Budokai games and Boo's Fury. Like, I love those games, but this takes the cake. This is that damn good. And you bet your sweet ass I'm going to be looking up shipping art of Chilai and Broly. But yeah, like I said, also like I said at the beginning, I haven't done reviews in a long time, but I needed to do this. And I know this video is like almost 40 minutes long now, but I needed to do this review. I needed to talk about this film, and I needed to go into as much detail as possible to explain fully why I loved it so much. It was so well handled. And it's, like I said, it's shocking because I didn't expect this series to be that well handled, or this movie to be that well handled after the series has not been. The fact that it did do everything right like this is shocking, but so welcomed. This is something I'm going to want to see again. And I hope to see it again. Maybe someday we'll see people react to it. I would love that. But yeah, either way, this review has gone on long enough. This is excessively long, and I'm sorry for that for all of you who may not be used to reviews from like other channels and stuff that are this fucking long. But I needed to talk about this. I needed to explain like I said, exactly why, with pretty much every detail, this was that damn good. So, that being said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Dragon Ball Super Broly, if you've seen it. And if you haven't seen it, I really wish you hadn't watched this review to this point because of the spoilers. Because I talked about pretty much everything that happened in the film. Maybe leaving out one or two scenes or something. But seriously, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.